Hi, folks. Welcome to another 10 Talk. I'm excited today. Kaylee Henderson is going to chat with us about some of the great ideas and the things she's learned over our last 9 months of remote instruction in her third grade bilingual classroom. Kaylee teaches in Bloomington District 87, and she's got a lot of good ideas. I love the way we started this conversation, Kaylee. We were kind of talking about how you were reflecting, and that now we're actually getting time to reflect on what works and doesn't work. So I'm excited to hear your ideas. My name is Nancy Latham. I'm from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And Kaylee, start us off. I know you've got some lessons learned.
Definitely. I think teacher reflection is super important at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the quarter, at the end of a season. And so as I sat down December of 2020, I kind of just brainstormed like what worked for us, what didn't. And as I was sitting down and brainstorming, I noticed 3 common themes emerging. So I kind of compiled those into an alliterated list. It always makes it easier for me when something's alliterated. So I just wanted to share those ideas with you. I know that even if it's just one simple idea, I can really latch on to that. Like I'm going to talk about Kahoot a few minutes from now, and that has been a game changer for our class. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the consistency piece. Google Slides, creating Google Slides that you can copy and paste for the next day is such a game changer for us. So I am able to make my plans easily because I just make a copy, and it's been really fun to do some of these slides. They're so simple, but they're such a great visual cue for the students when we're virtual learning. This one signifies to the students, oh, hey, it's snack time. I can go grab a healthy snack while we do our cursive. This one, they know their hands are supposed to go up, and this means it's vocabulary revision time. And we talk about the word of the day. I really like doing some of these more themed slides. There are so many out there. There are sites called Slides Go, Slides Carnival, a couple of others out there. If you just type in free Google Slides templates, Thanksgiving, then you'll get so many cool templates, and you can use those for free. So I really enjoy doing that because I can't decorate my classroom right now, but I can decorate our virtual classroom through this. We do a lot of yoga throughout the day, or like rainbow breathing. So that's been kind of fun, or mountain breathing. This signifies to the students, oh, hey, it's time for a read aloud. So they just go and grab their read aloud, and I don't really have to say much. They're just able to know through the visual cue, oh, hey, it's time for that. We have been able to do the Pledge of Allegiance every single day. We do our Bent School Pledge every day. And it's been fun because second quarter we jazzed up a bit, and we've been learning how to do it in sign language. So that's been really neat as well. I really appreciated doing this poem every single day as well. We recite it out loud. We practice memorizing it. And another thing that we like to do every day is this little guy over here. His name is Buzzington. He's our class mascot since our theme is bees. And we really enjoy finding him in our Google slide deck. I hide him in a different spot, and that way it forces them to, stay on their toes a little bit. And if they find him, they get a prize. So that's been kind of neat for them. This is also our end of the day, and they know the day is over when they see this slide. We all sing a song together, and then they're free to leave after that. And then there are usually a few stragglers who just want to stay on and keep talking. So
I love those. I absolutely love those. I actually have found that I'm using that a little more even with my college students, because they're doing these pre-session modules now prior to our class because of the way we've had to move our instruction prior to our synchronous meeting. But because it really drives them through. I mean, a certain kind of slide, they know they have something they have to do, and they're going to have to bring it to class. Kind of, that visual cue, I think is good for all of us. That consistency, what we can kind of count on.
Exactly.
I actually call them navigational beacons in my class because I have these little different symbols, and it means you've got to do something here, you've got to watch something here, you've got to read something, to drive them through, and that they can kind of count on.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think it works for any age group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So to build community in our class, I always make sure that I greet each student by name as they enter the Zoom meeting. I think that's really important that the student, feels seen and heard. And in another way that I, make sure that they feel seen and heard is through doing a one-word check-in. Abby Lyons at the ROE ROE 17, it would be. She did a great job leading us in a professional development at the beginning of the school year where she taught people how to do a one-word check-in. And I mean, it seems silly that you would need to teach people how to do that, but I don't know, it's just a really great way to check in with the kids and kind of figure out like, where are they at? How are they feeling today? Because you just don't know. And that's something that you can do when we go back to normal classroom teaching even. I mean, I had never really even considered that, but it's especially great over Zoom because some of them just don't turn their camera on. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. So it's hard to know how they're feeling if their camera's not on. Another thing that's been building community in our class is Kahoot. It's an online quiz-based engagement tool. You could create your own quizzes for different content, but sometimes the kids and I in the afternoon when they're not required to be on, but they can be on for some enrichment time or homework help. We'll play a Kahoot and they just love it. I mean, they love like trying to beat each other, and we'll do a lot of name that Disney movie, or I mean, they even got so excited when I say name that continent, and they were like, oh my goodness, we know these. Well, that was really cool. And also during that time in the afternoon, I give the kids breakout room time, and they really love, I mean, it's been great for just building that social emotional. Some of these kids are not seeing each other, you know, at recess. They're not seeing each other in play dates in their home because their parents have chosen to keep them home. And so with that, you know, I allow them to go into different breakout rooms, sometimes based on interest, or sometimes I just randomly assign them. So that way they'll talk to somebody maybe they wouldn't normally talk to, especially mixing the boys and girls in third grade. You know, they're like, oh man, I'm with the boy, but you know, it's good for them. So, and they've also been able to share their, different, if they have different like video, like Among Us is a game that I've learned about recently. They really like to share their usernames, and then then they're able to play later on in the day, or they're just like playing side by side and being able to talk to each other. So that's been really great for building up the community aspect in our classroom, even though we are, you know, doing this student thing. Finally, the camera thing. I mean, I have never had a day where I've had every single student engaged, like having their camera on, but I have been able to find other ways kind of around that for those kids who maybe don't want to be on their camera during class. One way is through Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid. It is a online tool where the students can record their own videos, kind of like YouTube. And some of them kind of do it like YouTube, like, hey guys, I'm gonna tell you about what I did this weekend, like as if they have an audience. Or they figured out special features where they can add like a little banner to the bottom of the video, and it's like, it says like breaking news, and it'll be like, breaking news, here's what I did this weekend. Or I've given them other prompts like, how do you want to help the world someday? And kind of talking about careers and what they might be interested in. So that's a really great thing for our bilingual learners because it helps them. I have them do it sometimes in English, and it helps them to practice for the access test, which they have to take every year. And so they have to do a speaking portion of that. And so it's just better practice for them to get over that like fear of talking on a camera. One other fun thing that I do just to get their cameras back on if they've, you know, kind of wandered away from me is we'll play Within Reach. A lot of teachers at the beginning of this time were doing scavenger hunts, and I did them too, but I noticed a few adults, just not even in my classroom, but just, you know, different teachers or paraprofessionals in our building who had kids say, I don't love those scavenger hunts because then my kid is sprinting all over the house while I'm working. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I didn't think about it that way. So we do something called Within Reach, and they have to have their camera on them. And I'll say, I want you to find something that you can write with. And then they scurry around and they'll find like a marker or a pencil or something. So that's just been like a kind of fun way to add in some, you know, more camera engagements. But I hope some of those help at least one educator out there, because I am always looking for one little thing that people can grab onto.
Oh, those are great ideas. I mean, it just really, and like you said, we've done so much trial and error now. So what works, what doesn't work. I mean, I think that's huge. So here's my new, I just recently started asking this closing question, Kaylee, at the end of all these. But when we go back to face, when we're all back together and things are back to whatever normal is, but when we're all back in there together, is there anything you've learned, any real lessons learned that you're going to say, no, that was a great tool. I'm taking that with me. I'm going to keep doing that.
our district uses Remind for messaging, and I think overall, Remind is for messaging with parents. Since this is only my 4th year teaching, I've always been very, I don't know, just a little bit anxious to talk with parents. You know, it's just like a skill that needs to be learned. And especially since Spanish is not my first language, is my second language. So I'm communicating with my parents who are speaking a different language. And that's one thing that, back in the spring, we had to call the parents a lot. We had to communicate with them a lot. And I got over that fear. And so I'm just really excited that I was able to get over that fear a little bit. And I am just thankful for the partnerships that I formed this year with this class. And I'm excited for next year when we can even I don't know, I just feel a lot more confident in that area myself. And it's just really up to the communication, because you have to. And you're also able to see into people's lives a lot more. I think I have a lot more understanding of what some of these kids' homes look like. And so I don't know, I even would love to, I've always wanted to do home visits, because that's what I grew up with. But sometimes that's just not really possible to do, 18 home visits before the beginning of the school year. And some people don't want you coming to their homes, but I would love to do virtual home visits before school starts. So that way, if you're not able to have an open house or whatever, or if you want to meet with the kid more individually instead of 1 hour where you meet 18 students, I think it'd be super fun to try virtual open house or virtual home visit, and just kind of getting a glimpse. It's been really eye-opening to see into different people's homes. And I'm glad that a lot of the kids have been able to share that. I mean, it's invasive, but they've been really good. Like, the families have been really great about just opening up their homes to me. So
I love that idea. When I first started teaching many years ago, the classroom they actually hired me to teach in was not ready. It was the school was being remodeled. Something had happened. And so I had about 2 months when I first began that all of my teaching had to be home-based. And I went into every home for an hour a day, twice a week. It was a really unique model. It was kind of interesting, but I have always said ever since then that I never knew a group of my learners and their families as well. And I was so connected with those learners. I just knew their families. I was so comfortable. So, I mean, I agree. And I think they were too. I think I never had such great classroom volunteering as I did that year when we got back. I think that relationship, it was just huge, so I love that idea. Thank you. That was great. So all of these great ideas that Kaylee shared will be not only here in her 10 Talk where you are, but there also will be a list or top 10 list where things like Kahoot and Flipgrid and all those, if you want to get to them real quick and check out the way you could use them, that'd be great. Kaylee, thank you very much.
thank you.